it is. Ooh, that's loud. Oh, sorry. Bangity bang bang. I forgot to down the internal gain volume. My apologies. I'm just going to do a quick check on the computer and make sure that my Twitch channel is actually advertising that I am playing Stellaris and not something else like Smite, which it's done the last 3 times, I think. Very annoying. Just one moment here. Also posted on the interwebs, so we're good there. Alright. I should have checked, I should have had this all ready to go prior, really, but what can I say? I'm a scrub lord. Amateur gamer, professional scrub lord. That's me. Hey, I can report myself. Go away. There we go. That should do it. Okay, alright, sorry for the wait there. I am actually a little bit late tonight, so I apologize for that. It's Thursday, November 14th, me broadcasting live. My name is Mobius Y. Thanks for coming by, those of you who are here already. And tonight is actually going to be a shorter stream than normal. I'm going to go over some silly Empire builds that I've come up with over the recent weeks/months. Is everything coming through okay? I'm having trouble with my phone as usual. 2 minutes ago, really? It seems like it's alright. I'm just not following live, apparently. Okay, so, let's get started. So this is going to be broken up into different parts, uploaded onto YouTube. So if you are watching this on YouTube sometime in the future, you weird time traveler you, if you'd like to see more Stellaris Console Edition content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I try to upload at least once a week, as I will stream Stellaris Console Edition on a weekly basis. You'll also find links in the description below to things like my Twitch channel, where I stream this off of, my Twitter feed, excuse me, which is a great way to keep in touch with me, and I will update accordingly if I need to postpone or cancel streams or various other news. And you'll also find a link to the Discord channel. Just broke 30 members, so it's not a very big one, but if you'd like to come talk with other Stellaris Console Edition players, or even about other stuff that I've put up on my channel, feel free to swing by. All those links you'll find in the description below. Also, I would like to note that this stream, and by extension this video, going to be a little more R-rated, as I'm probably going to be, kind of cursing more this time. For the simple reason that I've had a bit of a bad day, so I'm not in the best of moods. Yeah, probably best to just watch this and the subsequent videos, with headphones or when the kiddies aren't around, for example. Anyways, so I've got a few set up now. Normally what I would do is, on the previous Empire builds, I would have a copy of the Empire with non-silly names. I don't have that this time around, because I figure you guys can better come up with some of your own. Or if you want to go with silly names, that works too. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the first one here. This one I came up with quite some time ago. I thought of it pretty much right when Ascension Perks came out, but I didn't actually try it out. This is the Birds with Huge Territory. I made them an avian race, hence, birds with huge territory. The species name, they are the Spread Eagles, and the adjective is spreaders. I'm in your galaxy, taking all your territories. So as the name suggests, I went largely for really wide borders using different civics and namely an Ascension perk as well as the ethics. So I picked avian name lists. The prefix is yoink because yoink, I just took that territory. And now let's go into the actual build itself. So the thing about this particular build is it's focused on Empire border, Empire borders and bonuses that improve those. And there are no species traits that actually impact that. So you can largely build this however you want. Me, I went with Industrious for plus 15% minerals production, Thrifty for plus 15% energy credits production, and Talented for leader skill levels plus 1. These are good general all-purpose bonuses to give. To counteract that, I needed some negative traits. Obviously, I need non-adaptive for minus 2 trait points, and then one more to take off minus 1 trait point. I went with Repugnant in this case because actually we're already fanatic xenophobes with this particular Empire build, so people already don't really like us very much. Other AI empires will have a negative opinion already because of the fanatic xenophobe necessity for big borders. So I said, screw it. This will just be, icing on the cake for people not liking us. So that's why I went with Repugnant. Normally, I would say if you're actually kind of min-maxing, I would say go with Deviance because it's actually a good pick. But in this case, I don't really think it's terribly necessary. And if you're just lolzing with this particular build, you kind of want to keep some governing ethics attraction towards the starting governing ethics. The ruler title is Kick and Tail, and the name is Taken Systems. I just went with a female bird thingy in a random room. Let's take a look at the homeworld. The homeworld name, it doesn't fully say it, but in the top right, you've probably seen it. Big Planet, Big Dreams. The star name is huge! Because that makes sense. City appearance, avian, obviously. And I went with a Savannah world because I don't often pick this one, so that's what I went with. Plus, I do believe that dry planets tend to have tiles that have a little bit more energy generation as opposed to the other types. And I did want to focus a little bit more towards getting a little bit extra energy off my tiles. Whether or not it's true what I just said, figure that out for another day. Okay, so the real meat and potatoes here. Government and ethics. As I said, fanatic xenophobe. This gives us plus 30% rivalry influence gain, but also plus 30% border range. And it's these border range bonuses that I was going for with this particular build. Of course, being a fanatic xenophobe allows us to purge and displace aliens. We can also enslave aliens. This also means that we have decreased opinion from other species, as I said earlier. We also cannot give aliens full citizenship or full military service. So that means that aliens essentially do not have the same rights as our own species, and they will not be able to produce leaders. And we also can't use refugees welcome species policy. Because they're filthy xenos. Stay out of our territory. Go away. We're expanding our borders. A lot. Stay out. I stuck with a democratic leadership, democratic authority. Excuse me, because I felt that the influence bonuses you get from completing things like your minor mandates and your building of what are they called? Research outposts. As well, like every time a new leader is voted in, they have that mandate for building 4 mining stations or 4 research stations. I figured that would be easier to do with all these bonuses to border range, because we'd be able to cover more area with our planet borders and our frontier outpost borders, allowing us to have more systems under our control to build those stations and thus complete those mandates, thus giving us more influence, allowing us to build more frontier outposts, or better yet, colonize more planets. For civics, nationalistic zeal, this should have been pretty obvious. Border range plus 10%. This also allows us to have +1 maximum rivalries. This required us to be some degree of militarist, and that's why our remaining ethic point is the first basic militarist amount. This gives us plus 10% army damage and plus 10% ship fire rate. In order to have this additional civic combining with the plus 30% border range from Fanatic Xenophobia to give us a total of plus 40%, had to be some degree of militarist. So that's why we are Fanatic, Xenophobe, and militarists, allowing us to pick nationalistic zeal. Next up, I went with Distinguished Admiralty. This gives us another plus 8% fire rate. I figure, we've already got a fire rate bonus from being partially militarist. Why not increase that a little bit more, giving us better firepower to defend our territories if you put a frontier outpost too close to somebody who really doesn't like it and they go to war with you, this might just give you a bit of an edge over them. They might not have the same kind of bonuses you do, so to speak. Other things you could go with, nothing really comes to mind. I mean, we're Fanatic Xenophobe and partially militarist, so you could be Fanatic Purifiers if you wanted to. I didn't pick that this time around. I would swap this out with Distinguished Admiralty, but if you wanted to do something completely different, definitely could drop Distinguished Admiralty for Fanatic Purifiers, which actually gives you a better fire rate bonus of 33%. It also gives you 33% bonus army damage, and requires you to be the exact ethics that we have chosen. This civic is locked in from the beginning, and you can't change it. This also means that people really don't like you, and would actually go decently well with the fact that we picked the repugnant trait. Hence why I kind of went with it, because having that extra minus 25 opinion wouldn't matter, because we're already getting a bunch of negative opinion from being Fanatic Xenophobes. And if you actually did want to use this as Fanatic Purifiers, the minus 25% would make a difference, because you're already getting minus 1,000 for that stuff. So that should sum up that part. Empire name and flag. Birds with huge territory. Adjective, we are takers of stuff. And I went with a pirate logo this time around. Red foreground, kind of teal kind of background. Ships, starting weapons, energy weapons, because lasers, why not? Pew pew. And avian looking ships. And that essentially sums it up. Birds with huge territory. The idea I was going for here was that every single planet expands a lot of empire border, more than normal, as well as a single frontier outpost actually expands your borders a decent amount more than normal. At least that was the idea that I was going for. But we'll see in game that it's not really a huge deal. We've got a big bonus going on border range just by loading up the game with our ethics and civics picks, plus 40% border range from the start of the game. So the things we're going to want to be looking for is, first off, there is the society research called Galactic Ambitions, which increases our border range by another 20%. And there is also what's it called? The Ascension perk, Interstellar Dominion, which further increases border range by another 25%, giving us a total of 85% additional border range. That's the total. That tallied up, that's the total bonuses. But as we go through the different loads, we'll see that it doesn't seem like it's really as much as advertised. So, starting off here, in this particular game, our homeworld got 2 extra tiles, 18 tile homeworld, so not too bad. Decent improvement. And by being a Fanatic Xenophobe, it gives us access to this purity laws ethic. So this is a really good, not ethic, edict, excuse me. This is actually a really good edict. So by completing those democratic mandates, Namely, as I said, in this case, it's an orbital research mandate. So if we go out, we survey enough systems where we can get some science points by building orbital stations, and we build some on good locations, we complete this mandate, boom, we'll get a bunch of influence for it. It could be anywhere, as it says, anywhere between 80 to 175. Sometimes it'll be maybe a little later in the game. It could be as much as about 200, perhaps. That would be enough for us to enact at least one copy of purity laws. Since we only have the one planet, we'd be able to enact this. This would give us a big bonus in our Unity output right away, helping us get some traditions pretty quickly. So, of course, the first thing, a Tocthan monument right away on an empty tile. Build a second science ship, and we'll split up our fleet. There we go. Set them all to evasive, because we don't really want them to try and fight any enemies that they run across. And then we will send out our scouts into the galaxy, into the wild black yonder. Just, put them all over the map, see what's out there, see if we have any neighbors. And in this particular save, not really the best location in the galaxy. Even with our fairly sizably increased borders, we only have 3 additional systems under our control. And even then, Belgium is kind of iffy, whether that's actually within our borders or not, if we'd be able to build stations as soon as it's surveyed or not. To be honest, it doesn't look like it is. But, we'll find out, we would find out once it was surveyed. So technologies to watch out for. Let's see, fusion power, deflectors, and field modulation. Well, increased energy wouldn't be too bad. We are thrifty, after all. Check out society. Planetary unification, always a good one to pick. This will allow us to build an extra frontier outpost or two, especially down the road once we completed, say, the expansion tradition tree. And then for engineering, not great picks, but we got powered exoskeletons, so that's okay. So decent starting technology picks. Now the other thing too is traditions, because we are going for border range. The first tradition to go for it would be supremacy. By adopting it, we further increase our border range by another 20%. So by the time we complete this tradition tree, and we get the, as I mentioned, there is a society technology called Galactic Ambitions, which will be a little bit, it wouldn't show up right away, but it'd probably be about, 20, somewhere between the 20 to 50 year range. By the time we complete our supremacy tradition, get the Interstellar Dominion Ascension perk, and research that Galactic Ambitions technology, our bonus to border range is 105% total. So we're going to take a look at that by going to the next save file. Load the game. Check out this one. So let's check out part 2. This is 20 years in the game. Now this is actually about 6 or 7 months into the 20th year, as I got distracted by a shiny object and forgot to save at the start of year 20. So we've still got Big Planet, Big Dreams. It's been building up kind of nicely. Got our heritage site going. Planetary administration is still there. And we've got some upgraded power plants and mining networks, plus a few hydroponics farms. Now we're just a little bit in the negative on food because we recently colonized our second world. So we've got additional pops coming in, and we haven't really stabilized our food production. But you can see here, our border range is, it looks kind of crazy. But when you go over here to this frontier outpost, in the middle of this little cluster of stars here in the Hadricus system, the bonuses we're getting to border range don't really amount to much. And at this point in the game, we are just about done the supremacy tree. In fact, it's done in 1 more month. Updated. So we'll just let that go through.
Research complete.
And we should be able to pick a new tradition. There we go. Soil remediation. Have we completed Galactic Ambitions yet? Yes, we have. We completed it quite a little while ago, so this increased our border range 20%, as I said. So now let's go ahead, take the last bit of the supremacy tradition, and then we'll pick our Ascension perk, Interstellar Dominion. There we go. And as you can see, not really much noticeable difference from the looks of things. Let's unpause the game. There we go. Okay. So even with that 25% bonus from Interstellar Dominion, we still did not have enough to, for example, get the Larbo system within our borders and under our control. But it's definitely put the Zimatulon system and possibly even Istora, which might have been just on the outside of our borders to build stations on. It might have been just the push needed to put these two systems under our control from our single frontier outpost. So at this stage in the game, we've only got a couple frontier outposts set up, just the two, as you can see from our influence being used up by said frontier outposts. Now, if you'll notice, we haven't actually enacted any edicts because right now we just don't have the influence generation. 90% of the time I play the game, or I have a suggestion for somebody else how to play the game. 90% of the time I'll say activate encourage free thought, but in this case, as I said, we just don't have the influence generation that I would recommend putting that on and leaving it. We still have 570 saved up, but again, that's more than likely from completing things like these orbital research mandates and whatnot. We're 20 years in. There's probably been about 2, maybe 3 elections by this point, depending on how soon your previous ruler has died. So, you know, could be anybody's game. We've colonized our second world. This is Belgium, and it is in the Belgium system, so I felt the planet was aptly named. And we're just building it up now. Our first pop that we got to grow, I put on the Autochthon Monument to maintain decent Unity generation, but as you can see, it's still 74 months before we adopt our first tradition. So it'll be a while before that happens. And our second tradition, maybe expansion or discovery, one of those two. We'll jump ahead to the 30-year portion and see exactly what it was that I picked. In our home system, you can see that there are 9 corvettes ready to go. So if the pirate event hasn't occurred yet, where a little pirate base appears and 4 pirate corvettes attack some of your mining stations, if that hasn't occurred yet, 9 corvettes is more than enough. You really only need about 7 to defeat the pirate fleet and then repair them and go take out their base. So we're more than ready for that. If it's already happened, clearly we took them out very easily, as we might have even had 10 corvettes. So yeah, that's largely it for the 20-year portion in the game. Other things that I was going for, as you can see, our first 3 technologies in the physics tree: orbital field modulation, for the power plant 2s, and then I did orbital energy conversion for the solar panel networks on our spaceports, and global energy management for energy grids to help improve our energy production. A little after that, I was able to get administrative AI to increase our research speed by 5%. So pretty good technologies for the start of the game. We already got heritage sites, which was good. It took a little bit. We actually got galactic ambitions as our second society technology. So really lucked out there. Getting this technology this early for this particular empire build. And then just a few techs after that, we got heritage sites, and right after that, genome mapping for 10% growth speed, plus the frontier clinics for an additional 10% growth speed on colonies, which is pretty good there. After powered exoskeletons, continuing down, improving mineral production, was able to get the geothermal fracking, allowing us to get mining network 2s. And then if I wanted to, I could even build robots, because we got robotic workers for our third engineering technology. Let's go ahead and take a look at 50 years in the game. Part 3, 50 years in. All this talking is actually really drying my mouth up. Okay, so we have a couple other colonies, and they're a ways away. We also have a few more frontier outposts in nearby systems. We've got 2 primitive, two primitive species with observation posts over their planet. This one in particular, just got them on passive observation for now, and that's it. And then we've got another one over here on this primitive world as well. So possible vassals in the future or whatever, you know, possible livestock. Probably going to purge them. Actually, we have a third one that I didn't notice. But as you can see, with only a few frontier outposts and just a few colonies, we're taking up a decent amount of territory because of all this border range bonus that we have. So the second tradition that I completed was expansion, and the second ascension perk was technological ascendancy to try and help with that research speed. Don't want to fall behind in the science curve here, so that's what I went with. We also grabbed a really good planet way up here north of us, past this technology past this empire, excuse me, past this technology. Whew, I'm on drugs tonight. Past this Cybon allied systems, which we actually didn't encounter at first. We hadn't even encountered them 20 years in, and pretty much right next to the Natraxi shard, which is a fallen empire that we encountered really early. You probably saw that we had come across them earlier on at 20 years in. They're also fanatic xenophobes. And we've still got the Norilga Pact, which we encountered a long time ago on the other side of the galaxy. But as you can see, because we are xenophobic and repugnant, people really don't like us. We are xenophobic bigots, so that is negative 40 opinion right off the bat. And because we also have a repugnant ruler, it's also another negative 25 opinion against us from most AI. Pretty much any AI empire that we encounter would have that kind of feeling towards us. This one actually dislikes us more because they rivaled us, and we have some border friction with them. So they're really upset with us, actually. But on the plus side, since they're our rival, we are getting 1.3 extra influence per month, and that's almost completely offsetting the influence being used up for our 3 frontier outposts. Getting the particular tradition in the expansion tree, Galactic Ambition, where frontier outpost upkeep is reduced by 50%. Our frontier outposts are only costing us 0.5 influence per month, so by having 3 frontier outposts, they're costing us 1.5, and we're getting most of that back from a single rivalry, which is pretty cool. Now, as you can see here, this colony, Halberd, I know, I'm funny. It's just this colony by itself. I don't know why I don't have a heritage site on there yet. Just this colony by itself. It's not even fully grown up. It's a 24-tile world, and it has only 6 fully grown pops on it. But it's already extending a pretty decent amount of territory around it. Definitely more so than any of our frontier outposts that you can see further down here. So the border range is definitely improving the amount of territory that is under our control that we can use to exploit for resources. It definitely is impacting that, but it's really not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as noticeable of an improvement as I was kind of expecting. I actually figured that with 105% extra border range, we'd probably be getting, you know, a big circle, more like what I'm doing with the cursor here, and have like another 5 systems under our control for that. So kind of underwhelming in that instance. Our home planet of Big Planet, Big Dreams, almost fully developed. We've got pops on every tile that's been cleared so far, so just waiting until a pop gets on this engineering facility, and then I'd clear that last tile, probably build another science lab there. This is Belgium, as you can see, also quite well developed. There's still a few tiles that haven't been cleared, but out of a 20-tile world, it has 12 fully grown pops already. So doing a pretty decent amount of growth there. We've got 30% additional pop growth speed from the Frontier Clinic, genome mapping technology, and the A New Life tradition pick in the expansion tree. So still a few pops here that don't have a building underneath them, but since the economy is largely balanced out, we're getting an okay amount of minerals and some pretty nice energy credits coming in. Pretty easy to be able to build stuff up there. And by this point, we've also got Birdie Power, which had a Betharian stone tile on it. Great place to build up extra energy with a Betharian power plant. And by this point, we've also encountered the Artisan Troop, so we should be a patron of the arts. And we bought an art monument to really help with our Unity production. So as you can see, it's only 36 months for our next tradition. And we have adopted 3. We have 4 colonies, and we're still getting our traditions faster than we were in part 2 at 20 years, where it said it would be about 70 months before we get the next tradition after we completed the supremacy tree. So for the 3rd tradition, I just picked prosperity, reduce the cost of building a mining station. This would also help with energy production, reducing the cost of ship and building upkeep, and also give us a little bit more unity with this pursuit of profit by causing our energy grids and energy nexuses, producing a little bit more unity. So doing all right there. We've also got a pretty decent military force, the 2nd Star Flock, with 10 corvettes and 8 destroyers. Already wiped out a couple systems that had little neutral hostile aliens, like some space amoeba or mining drones, or ancient mining drones and the like. So we've cleared out a few systems that way. And we've also got a lot of science ships now. Well, not really a lot, but we've got 4 science ships now. They're just out exploring the galaxy, the far reaches of the galaxy, continuing to look for planets that are ripe. Whoops, what did I just do there? Continuing to look for planets that are ripe for colonization. Not too concerned about colonizing close to our borders, looking for planets kind of like this one way up here that I just kind of rushed for between year 20 and now. The Halberd planet. Saw it way off in the distance, a 24-tile Savannah world, and just went, oh, gotta have that. So, rushed a colony ship way out there as soon as possible. And I think that'll largely sum it up. So we'll go back into the Empire creation screen. Excuse me. And I'll go over once again what I picked for this particular Empire build. Feel free to copy this exactly if you choose to, or just change a couple things that you think you would like to try out a little bit different. I'm okay with that. By all means, tailor it to however you would like to. Maybe when you actually play this, instead of going expansion for your 2nd tradition, maybe you go with discovery and you get a 20% research bonus by completing the discovery tree and then getting technological ascendancy. The choice is ultimately yours, and that is one of the joys of Stellaris, I think. So let's exit back to the menu. And we'll take a look at the birds with huge territory once again. I'll mainly just highlight the traits, ethics, and civics that I went with, as I feel those are the important... whoops, no, I don't want to load again. As I feel that those are the important aspects that you really want to look at. So again, the traits I went with, since no traits really affect border range, I went with industrious, thrifty, and talented. Good all-around bonuses. Improving, numerous aspects of the Empire at large, non-adaptive and repugnant for negative traits to balance out all the positive ones that we've picked. Savannah homeworld and governing ethics were fanatic xenophobe for the big increase in border range, and I also went with a slight amount of militarism to be able to pick the nationalistic zeal Empire civic, which also has a border range increase. So civic picks being nationalistic zeal, as I just said, and distinguished admiralty to give us another bonus in fire rate. And the government authority is democratic, giving us a military commissariat. For ships, as I said, starting weapons were lasers. Not really, can't really go wrong with whichever one you pick here. If you prefer missiles, go with that. If you prefer projectile weapons, you can go with that. And that'll sum it up for this particular Empire build. So if you watch this on YouTube, the video will be ending in just a moment here. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, subscribe to the channel for more Stellaris Console Edition content. Dingle my dongle so you're notified when I put up new videos. And if you're watching on stream, just going to take a short break, grab a sip of water, and we'll be back with the next Empire build very shortly.